Originally, I had wanted to stay away from basic tutorials, but I get a lot of requests for simple things like walking and things like that. So I've decided that I will do my tutorials in a new way, in that I will mark them as either beginning or more advanced tutorials. And for this one, I thought I would just start by explaining my process step by step and to go in depth with some essentials about stop motion. So to start, one of the things that I do is, for the base plate, I like to just put some masking tape underneath it like this. Just get a piece like this, just kind of roll it up, and you just put it on one of the corners. And then you just do that for all four corners. But to save time, I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to do it for two corners. There we are. Now we have a little base plate. And this, I do this because I don't want it to slip. So like, let's say I'm trying to move a guy and I kind of push down and then the whole set slips. It's going to ruin the animation. It's going to ruin the shot. And I've kind of learned that through experience. So you want to make sure that your set is solid, that it's not going to move very easily. So we're going to be talking about how to make a Lego guy walk. There are a lot of tutorials on this, which is why I didn't want to do this, but I figured I'm just going to do everything that I can to help everyone else out there who needs help with animating Legos. Now the first thing to remember is I animate typically at 15 frames per second, which means that I take 15 pictures to get 1 second. Okay, so with that in mind, this is how I make my characters walk. So there's going to be a few, I think there's 5 different movements here. So the first movement is you pick which leg you want to go forward. So let's say he's walking towards you. We're going to pick his left leg to move forward. And then you're going to move the right arm slightly forward. So whatever leg is moving, you move that opposite arm. It's important to remember. So it's going to look like this from the side. Okay, so he's standing straight up, legs forward a little bit. Then move the arms a little bit more. And then your second stance is going to look something like this. I use clay to hold up my characters. Alright, so then third stance is going to be like this, and you're going to move the arms back down the swinging motion a little bit. And then he's on that spot, and boom. That's how I do it. Now I like to avoid using the plates with the pegs. I like to use smooth surfaces. For example, something like this. I would rather make a Lego guy walk on this because the bumps tend to make, they tend to guide you, and sometimes you might want to have your Lego character move maybe 45 degrees or something, and you don't have that freedom with the pegs. So I like to use flat surfaces, and the same thing applies, but you might have to use clay to get them to stand in certain positions. So now I want to talk about a couple of essential things. It's not enough to just have, him here and then him here moving his arm slightly. It's not enough to do that. You have to think of a couple of things: fluidity and positioning. And I'm going to explain that here in a second. So to talk about positioning first, let's say he's walking down a hallway. You want to try to imagine a path that he's traveling through. So what I mean is, you want him to be consistent in his placement. So you don't want him to be standing straight and then the next frame he's kind of like tilted slightly or something, because that will really ruin the flow. The more the path that you stay to, the more fluid your animation, the more smooth your animation is going to be. Okay, so for example, if he's here, right, and you're trying to make him walk forward, well, if he's standing up straight and then you make him take a step, but let's say you have him lean slightly and then he's back up straight in the next picture, it's not going to look smooth. You want to make sure that his positioning is consistent. So that in mind, we're going to talk about fluidity. Let's say you want to move his arm. Okay, I want to zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see a little bit better here. Alright, so let's say you wanted to move his arm. You have to think about every step being consistent, every piece of movement being consistent. You can't have him go from here all the way up in different segments. You can't have him like there and then a little bit more and then like a big jump and then a small jump. It has to be the same consistency. Now what you can do is, if you wanted to go slow, you can be inconsistent, but you can do it in steps. So you can move his arm a little bit and then a little bit less and a little bit less and then a little bit less. As long as the degrees are in some kind of uniform pattern where they're not inconsistent or anything like that, then the animation will be a lot smoother. A lot of times I see animation where when the guys walk, he's leaning this way in one step, and then the next picture he's leaning like backwards, and it makes the walking less fluid, and it ruins the animation. And same with the way that the movement flows and the amount of movement. So like I will see animation where the arm moves like this much and then like a tad and then a lot more and then like a tad and then like a lot more. You have to be consistent with your movement and your positioning. So I hope this helps, and if you have any tutorial ideas, anything at all, let me know. I will be doing a sniper scope one because I got a lot of requests for that, because I'm going to be doing it in FT4, which I'm still working on. I just hit a snag because I'm trying to do something with the background and it's like I have to find a screen. So other than that, it looks great and I can't wait to show you guys. I also have a lightsaber movie which will be out soon, hopefully. Anyway, send me your tutorial requests and I'll be glad to hear from you guys. Thank you.